I never thought I'd hear the words, "You're fired," echo through my shitty apartment speakers like a bad rom-com breakup. But there they were, blasting from my laptop as my boss's Botox-frozen face filled the screen. It was 9:17 a.m. on a Tuesday in Chicago's endless gray drizzle, and I'd just chugged my third black coffee, prepping for what I assumed was a routine performance review at Apex Financial. Instead, Elena Vasquez, my mentor, my confidant, the woman who'd promised me the corner office, leaned into her webcam with that fake-ass empathy she'd perfected in boardrooms and dropped the bomb. "Ruby, we've uncovered evidence of fraud in your accounts. Embezzlement. It's serious." My heart slammed against my ribs like a drunk at last call, but the real gut punch came next when she slid the knife in deeper. "We have to let you go, effective immediately. Security's on their way to escort you out. Virtually, of course." I stared at the pixelated termination letter popping up in the chat, my cursor hovering over "Leave meeting." And in that split-second freeze frame of my life unraveling, I did the unthinkable. I hit record. It wasn't impulse. It was muscle memory from too many late nights covering her ass. Elena and I went way back to when we were both hungry interns clawing our way up Apex's glass tower in the Loop. She was the golden girl from some Ivy League feeder school, all sharp suits and sharper ambition, and I was the state school grinder from the South Side, the one who actually read the fine print on those SEC filings while she networked over $18 martinis. We'd bonded over burnout and bad bosses, trading secrets in the glow of after-hours spreadsheets. Or so I thought. Turns out, those secrets were landmines she'd buried under my feet, waiting for the right moment to detonate. By noon, my inbox was a war zone. HR spoilerplate, non-disclosure reminders, colleagues' pity party DMs, "WTF Ruby? Call me." And a single, gut-wrenching text from my fiancé, "Marcus, heard about the firing. You okay? Need me to come home early?" Marcus. God, if only he'd known the half of it. He was the one good thing in this clusterfuck, a steady-hand architect with a laugh that could defrost a Chicago winter and eyes that saw right through my bullshit. We'd met 3 years ago at a rooftop bar during Pride, him nursing a craft IPA while I vented about Elena's latest power play. He grounded me, made me believe in second chances after my folks' messy divorce left me allergic to trust. But even he couldn't fix this. I texted back a lie, "Just a mix-up, babe. Home soon," and slammed my laptop shut, the city's horn symphony mocking me from the window. I paced my one-bedroom in Wicker Park, the kind of place with exposed brick and rent that ate half my paycheck, replaying Elena's voice like a bad loop. Fraud. Me? I'd balanced her books for years, spotting discrepancies she'd overlook with a wink and a "handle it, Ruby. You're the best." And the big one, the skeleton in our shared closet. 5 years ago, during that merger with West Coast Partners, Elena had greenlit a shady off-books transfer, $2.3 million funneled through dummy accounts to pad quarterly earnings. It was her call, her signature on the wire, but when the auditors sniffed around, she panicked. "Ruby," she'd sobbed in the ladies' room, mascara running like a pro, "if this comes out, we're both done. But you could bounce back. I'm too visible." So I did it. I backdated entries, rerouted the trail to look like a vendor glitch on my login, took the heat when questions arose, played it off as honest error in the internal review. She got the promotion. I got a pat on the back and a 3% raise. Loyalty, she'd called it. Blind idiocy, I realized now. The feds called it 2:43 p.m., right as I was mainlining takeout Thai to numb the rage. My phone buzzed with an unknown DC area code, and I almost let it go to voicemail until the automated voice kicked in. "This is the United States Attorney's Office. We need to speak with Ruby Harlan regarding an ongoing investigation into financial irregularities at Apex Financial Services." My stomach dropped faster than the L train at rush hour. Irregularities? Plural? I patched them through to speaker, my voice steady as a surgeon's hand. "Agent Harlan here. How can I help?" The lead, a no-nonsense type named Kowalski with a South Side accent thicker than mine, laid it out cold. Apex's board had tipped them off about systemic fraud, and my name was front and center. But here's the twist. They had Elena's too. "We've got whistleblower docs, Miss Harlan. Emails, timestamps. Looks like a house of cards." Whistleblower. The word hung in the air like tear gas. Who? Not me. I'd been too loyal, too scared of the fallout. Marcus was at his firm, oblivious. My sister Lila was in Milwaukee, buried in med school. No one else knew the depths. I thanked Kowalski, promised my lawyer's call back. A bluff. I couldn't afford one yet, and hung up, the room spinning. That's when the pieces clicked. Elena hadn't just framed me. She'd framed us both, lighting the match to burn down anyone who could connect the dots. But why now? Promotion season was over. She'd just inked that VP deal. Unless it wasn't about Apex at all. Unless it was personal. I cracked open my emergency bourbon, Elijah Craig, small batch, the kind Marcus teased me about hoarding, and scrolled through old texts. There it was, buried in a thread from last summer. Elena, 3 sheets to the wind after our girls' night, at the Violet Hour, spilling about Marcus. He's too good for you, Rubes. Steady Eddie. But me? I could use a man like that. Borrow him sometime. I'd laughed it off as drunk talk, but now it reeked. I'd caught them once, late at night in the office kitchen, her hand on his arm, him pulling away with that awkward grin. Just talking shop, he'd said. Bullshit. She'd been chipping at my foundation, and when I pushed back on her latest creative accounting, she'd gone nuclear. By evening, the apartment felt like a cage. Marcus got home at 7, arms full of grocery bags and that boyish smile that usually melted me. Pad Thai delivery? And I grabbed your faves, extra basil. He pecked my cheek, oblivious to the storm. I wanted to unload, to scream about the betrayal, the feds, the way Elena's eyes had gleamed on that call like a cat with cream. But I couldn't. Not yet. Rough day, I muttered, forcing a laugh. Client drama. We ate on the couch, binging that new season of Succession. Irony much? His head on my shoulder, my mind a million miles away, plotting. Revenge wasn't a word I threw around lightly. Growing up in a house where grudges festered like old wounds, I'd sworn off it. But this was war. That night, as Marcus snored softly beside me, I slipped into the spare room, my office, really just a desk piled with Apex swag, and fired up my old laptop, the one not tied to company VPN. The recording from the Zoom call was gold. Elena's accusations, her slip-up mentioning the old merger glitch like it was nothing. But I needed more. Deep web dives, archived emails I'd squirreled away on a thumb drive. By 3 a.m., I had a timeline. Elena's rise, my invisible assists, and a fresh trail. Transfers to an offshore account in her cousin's name. $500,000 last quarter. She'd been skimming for months, using my access as cover. And Marcus? Subpoena records showed lunches logged under client meetings, but the geotags screamed the gauge, our spot. She'd been poaching my life, piece by piece. Dawn broke with a knock at the door, process server, courtesy of Apex's lawyers. Ruby Harlan? You've been served. The papers accused me of breach, demanded repayment of ill-gotten bonuses. I signed with a flourish, my hand steady for the first time that day. Kowalski called back at 9. Ms. Harlan, we pulled server logs. Your activity's clean, mostly, but there's overlap with Vasquez. Care to chat? I did. Over coffee at a neutral spot, a dingy Starbucks off Michigan Avenue. I laid it out, partial truths only. The merger cover-up? Mine to own. The recent fraud? Pointed straight at her. She's the architect, I said, voice low. I'm just the fall guy. Kowalski nodded, scribbling notes, his partner, a sharp-eyed Latina named Reyes, watching me like I was a suspect in her own drama. This could get messy, Ruby. Immunity deals aren't free. Messy. Understatement. But as I walked out into the slushy streets, wind whipping off the lake, I felt the shift. Tables turning, slow but sure. Elena thought she had me cornered. She didn't know I'd already called in the cavalry, or that the real bomb was the one I'd plant myself. The next week blurred into a haze of depositions and denial, Chicago's winter bite seeping through my coat like the chill of Elena's betrayal. I crashed at Marcus's insistence. My place felt tainted, every corner whispering her name. But even there, paranoia gnawed. Was that her perfume on his collar? A text buzzing too late at night? I shoved it down, focusing on the fight. Kowalski's team moved fast. By Friday, Elena was hauled into a voluntary interview at the field office on Roosevelt Road, her lawyer in tow like a yappy terrier. I watched from across the street, huddled in a doorway, steam from my styrofoam coffee cup fogging my breath. She emerged 2 hours later, face ashen, barking into her phone. Double the retainer. Now, Victory tasted like ash, sweet, but it burned. Apex suspended her pending investigation, a press release framing it as routine compliance. The loop buzzed with whispers. Vasquez is out? Harlan too? What the hell's going down? My old desk buddy, Jamal, shot me a lifeline, a freelance gig auditing a startup in Pilsen, enough to cover rent. You didn't do it, right? He asked over beers at Maria's packaged goods. I clinked bottles, evasive. Innocent until proven, my friend. But guilt twisted in my gut, not for the fraud, but for the lie I'd lived. Covering for Elena hadn't just cost me my job. It had eroded me, turned loyalty into a noose. Marcus sensed the fracture. Saturday morning, as snow flurried past our window overlooking the brownstone stoops, he cornered me in the kitchen. Ruby, talk to me. This isn't just work shit. His eyes, those warm hazel pools, searched mine. I wanted to spill about Elena's claws in our life, the way she'd flirt-coded her emails to him. Miss our chats? Winking face. The merger albatross I'd carried alone. Instead, I cracked. She framed me, Marcus. For everything. And I think she wants you. The words hung, heavy as the cast-iron skillet sizzling bacon. He froze, spatula midair, then set it down slow. What? Ruby, that's insane. Elena's. She's intense, yeah, but intense? She told me she'd borrow you. And your client lunches? Come on. The fight erupted like a loop traffic jam. Horns blaring, no exit. He swore innocence, flashing receipts, legit, damn it. But the seed of doubt I'd planted sprouted thorns. You're spiraling, he accused, voice cracking. This job loss is messing with you. Maybe. Or maybe trust, once chipped, shatters irreparably. By noon, he stormed out for a walk, which stretched to hours. I curled on the couch, scrolling Elena's LinkedIn, frozen at on leave, and plotted deeper. Revenge wasn't catharsis, it was calculus. Step 1. Leak the merger docs to an anonymous tip line, timed for Monday's market open. Step 2. Confront her, not with fists, but facts. Make her sweat the way she'd made me. Monday hit like a freight train. Apex stock dipped 4% on regulatory whispers, CNBC speculating wildly. My phone lit up. Kowalski. Nice work, Harlan. Vasquez is cracking. Mentioned a partner in crime, you? I played dumb. Partner? Try Patsy. But inside, elation warred with nausea. This was the game now, Fed chess, where one wrong move checkmates your soul. Jamal texted coordinates for our Pilsen gig, a graffiti-tagged warehouse turned co-working space, buzzing with millennial dreamers pitching apps that'd never scale. The owner, a tattooed ex-Wall Streeter named Theo, bought my pitch hook, line, sinker. Clean books? You're hired. It was a bandage, not a cure, but it bought time. Elena reached out that afternoon, a block number pinging my burner app. We need to talk. Coffee, the usual spot. For PM, the Gauge, our old haunt. All dark wood and whiskey lore, where she'd first dangled the merger carrot. Ballsy, I showed, early, staking a corner booth with a view of the door. She swept in at 4:05, designer coat shedding snow like dandruff, eyes darting like a cornered fox. Ruby, she breathed, sliding in opposite, no hug, no pretense. This is a nightmare. I sipped my old-fashioned, letting silence stretch. Nightmare? Try felony, Elena. Feds have your IPs, your dummies. Why me? Her mask slipped, a flicker of that boardroom steel, then crumble. It wasn't personal. The board was closing in. I needed a diversion. You knew too much. Knew too much. Like the merger, the $2.30 mill I'd buried for her. And Marcus? I pressed, voice ablade. She blinked, feigning shock. What about him? God, Ruby, you're paranoid. But her fingers twisted her napkin, giveaway. I leaned in. I have recordings. Texts. The works. Walk away clean, or I'd bury you. Lie. Half true, but it landed. She paled, whispering, please. I can fix this. Reinstate you, bonus. We're a team. Team. The word curdled my stomach. I stood, tossing cash. Teams don't frame each other. Enjoy the view from the bench. Outside, the wind howled off the Art Institute, tourists huddling under umbrellas. Marcus called as I jaywalked Michigan. I'm sorry about yesterday. Dinner? Make it right. Softening, I agreed. Therapy, not war. But Elena's play lingered. That night, over ribeyes at Gibson's, Marcus opened up. Innocent lunches, yes, but Elena's advances? Subtle, persistent. I shut her down, Ruby. Every time. Relief flooded. Mixed with shame, I poisoned us with her venom. We laughed it off, clinking glasses to new chapters, his hand warm on mine. For a moment, normalcy beckoned. But normalcy's a luxury for the unbetrayed. Tuesday brought the flip. Kowalski's update. Vasquez flipped on you. Says the merger was joint. Pushing for a deal. Bitch. She'd twisted my loyalty into a noose, offering me up to save her skin. Rage boiled, pure Chicago steel, unyielding, cold. I lawyered up proper, a pro bono shark from the public defender's office named Carla, all Brooklyn fire in a Windy City shell. We countersue, she growled over Zoom. Defamation, emotional distress. Make and bleed. But countersuing meant dredging the merger dirt public. My dirt, too. Controversial call. Expose myself to nail her? Theo's gig ramped up, nights poring over ledgers in that echoing warehouse, hip-hop thumping from a Bluetooth speaker, street art murals judging my every keystroke. It grounded me, a rhythm amid chaos. Lila called midweek, voice thick with worry. Sis, feds? Fraud. What the actual fuck? I downplayed, but her silence screamed disappointment. Family, another casualty. Marcus, bless him, cooked through it. Chilly on stormy nights, walks along the lake when the blizzards broke. We're solid, he'd murmur, pulling me close. But doubt's a thief, stealing sleep, seeding what-ifs. Elena's next move came Friday. A package at my door, no return address. Inside, a USB drive and a note in her looping script. Truth hurts. Watch alone. Heart pounding, I plugged it in. Video footage, grainy, time-stamped last summer. Me, drunk at the gauge, ranting to her about Apex's crooked core. Then the bomb. Me slurring, screw it, let's skim a little. What's a few K between friends? Forged. Deepfake lips on my face, my voice modulated pitch perfect. Horror clawed my throat. She'd gone scorched earth, doctoring evidence to drag me down with her. I didn't cry. I seethed. Called Kowalski. She's fabricating. Test the metadata. Then Carla. We go nuclear. But nuclear meant choices. Leak the fake to discredit her. Risk looking desperate? Or play defense. Let the feds unravel it slow? The antagonist in me. The Ruby who'd clawed from public housing to corner office. Whispered offense. I drafted an anonymous post to FinTech Reddit. Apex Insider. Vasquez fakes evidence. Merger fraud real. Check SEC filings. Hit send at midnight. Adrenaline surging like bad coke. By morning, the thread exploded. 5K upvotes. Speculation rife. Elena's name trended on Twitter. Apex scandal. Marcus found me at dawn, staring at my phone, hollow-eyed. Ruby, what did you do? I showed him the drive. His face darkened. Not at me, but her. That snake. We're reporting it. Unity, fragile but real. We filed the complaint together, his steady hand on mine as we signed. But as sirens wailed distant, cops hauling some fool downtown, I wondered, was this justice or just my own brand of poison? The tables turned, yeah, but the board was tilting wild. The scandal snowballed like an avalanche down Rush Street, burying Apex under a pile of subpoenas and shareholder suits. By week 2, Elena's penthouse in Gold Coast was temporarily vacated, for the doorman slipped to a Tribune stringer, and her socials went dark, poof, like a ghosted Tinder match. I thrived in the wreckage, Theo's startup gig morphing into full-time CFO as his seed round ballooned on the bus. You're a shark, Ruby, he grinned, slapping my back over craft tacos at Big Star. My kind of chaos. Chaos. Yeah, that was the perfume of my new life. Heady, disorienting, laced with the thrill of the hunt. Kowalski's probes deepened. Reyes cornered me for a formal statement, her questions surgical. The deep fake. How do you spot it? I walked her through the tells. The lip sync lag, the unnatural blink rate. Tech I'd picked up from late-night YouTube binges during insomnia spells. Vasquez is cunning, she noted, jotting. Flips scripts like a pro. Ever consider she had help inside? Inside. Apex. Or closer. Marcus's name flickered unbidden. I quashed it, focusing on facts. But doubt's a virus, replicating in quiet moments. Carla pushed the countersuit, filing in federal court with flair. Emotional distress, wrongful termination, conspiracy to defame. We're not just suing Apex, she crowed in our strategy sesh at her loop office, skyline sprawling like a conqueror's map. Vasquez personally. Make her mortgage that condo. Controversial? Hell yes. Suing your ex-mentor felt like fratricide, especially when the merger skeleton loomed. I'd have to testify, own my role in the cover-up. Perjury risk? Minimal, if spun right. Coerced by superior. But the court of public opinion? Brutal. Reddit threads dissected me. Harlan's no saint. Check the timestamps. Feminist icon or fraud enabler. Elena countered vicious. Her lawyer, a silver-haired shark from Kirkland and Ellis, motioned to dismiss, painting me as disgruntled opportunist. Then the flip, a midnight email from her personal account. Untraceable. You win this round, Ruby. But Marcus? He came to me willingly. Ask about the cabin. The cabin. Our getaway in Door County, Wisconsin, last fall, leaves blazing, me buried in work emails while he fished. Gutted, I confronted him over breakfast, the words acid on my tongue. Elena's saying you hooked up. The cabin. His fork clattered, pancakes untouched. What? That's her poison, Ruby. I was alone, thinking about us. Proof? None, but his eyes, raw, pleading, swayed me. Or did I want them to? We doubled down on therapy, a couples counselor in Lincoln Park with a beard like a 70s folk singer. Betrayal erodes foundations, he droned, as Marcus gripped my hand. Rebuild with transparency. Transparent. I tried. Confessed the freelance leaks, the burner plots. He blanched. Vigilante shit? Ruby, that's not you. But it was. The old Ruby, compliant, loyal, got fired on Zoom. This one, forged in the fire, edges sharp. Lila visited weekend, dragging me to improv at IO Theater for distraction. We laughed till tears, but her whisper hit home. Don't lose yourself in this, sis. Revenge chews you up. Apex crumbled further. CEO resigned. Stock cratered 12%. Jamal jumped ship to a rival. Texting. You're doing? Legend. I demurred, but pride swelled. Kowalski called midweek. Vasquez's talking plea. Fingers you for the deepfake idea. Lie bold as brass. She was flipping again, survival mode kicking in. Sacrificed the pawn to save the queen. Reyes tailed me to a deposition, her unmarked sedan idling curbside. Watch your back, Harlan. She's unraveling. Desperate people do desperate things. Desperate. That Friday, as sleet lashed the city, my door buzzer screamed. Elena, soaked, no coat, eyes wild. Let me in, Ruby. Please. Against every instinct, I did. Curiosity's a bitch. She collapsed on my couch, shivering, babbling. They're coming for me. The feds, the board, everyone. I didn't mean. The cabin was nothing. A kiss, drunk, he stopped it. Kiss. The word detonated. Marcus? Confirming her lie? I grabbed her collar, shoving her against the wall. First violence, raw and real. You poisoned everything. She wheezed, clawing back. You covered for me. We're the same. Same. The mirror she held cracked my resolve. I released her, collapsing beside, sobs racking us both. Two sharks beached, gasping. Why? I choked. The promotion? Jealousy. She wiped snot, voice small. Fear. You were rising too fast. Steady like him. I needed control. Vulnerability, cracked open. For a heartbeat. Pity stirred. Sisters and ambitions grind. Then rage resurged. Get out. She did, slinking into the storm, leaving a void. I called Marcus, voice breaking. Truth. The cabin. Silence. Then, it happened. Once. I swear over. The world tilted, betrayal squared, concentric circles of hurt. I didn't sleep. Dawn brought clarity, cold as Lake Michigan. No more half measures. Carla greenlit the testimony. Full disclosure, merger mea culpa. Controversial as hell. Admitting complicity to clear my name? It'd paint me gray, not white. But gray's honest. Kowalski prepped me. Stick to facts. No emotion. Facts. My armor now. The deposition loomed Monday. A fluorescent hell in a federal building reeking of stale coffee and regret. Elena's team grilled first. Her proxy, a junior associate with a man bun, lobbing softballs to build her victim narrative. Then my turn. Under oath. Voice steady. I unraveled the merger thread. I altered records at Ms. Vasquez's direction. Loyalty. Mistake. Gasps rippled. Reporters in the gallery, scribbling frenzy. Her lawyer objected. Hearsay. Judge overruled. The flip. I dropped the deep fake bomb. Metadata Exhibit A. Fabricated to discredit. Chaos. Recess called. Elena storming out. Face thunder. Outside, protesters gathered. Me Too holdovers chanting against corporate witches, signs blurring victims and villains. I slipped through, hood up, Reyes shadowing. Good work. She's done. Done. But as I boarded the red line home, phone buzzing with Marcus's, "We need to talk." I wondered, was victory Pyrrhic? The revenge high faded, leaving Hollow's Theo's warehouse weighted. Spreadsheets, not swords. Lila texted, proud, but call Mom. Mom. The woman who taught me grudges kill slow. That night, alone, Marcus's things half-packed in the hall. I poured bourbon, toasting ghosts. Tables turned. Yeah, but the spin left me dizzy, questioning every step. Was I avenger or architect of my own ruin? The feds closed in. Elena's plea deal crumbled under my testimony's weight. Arrest warrant dropped Tuesday. Cuffs at her sister's doorstep, Tribune front page. Satisfaction? Fleeting. Marcus moved out temporary, space to heal. Space. The final betrayal, self-inflicted. Yet in the quiet, plotting paused, a spark, rebuild. Not on revenge's ash, but fresh ground. Chicago's resilient, windy city, unbowed. Me too. Or so I lied to the mirror. Winter thawed into a muddy March, Chicago shrugging off ice like an ex it never loved, and with it came the trial's preliminaries, motions, mediations, the slow grind of justice's bureaucracy. Apex settled my suit out of court, $750,000, NDA ironclad, enough to buy a Lincoln Park walk-up and breathe. Smart. Carla toasted over victory martinis at the Berghoff. No trial circus, but settlements feel like half wins. Money mutes, doesn't mend. Elena's case dragged federal dockets, her flips multiplying. Plea to testify against the board for leniency, then retract, alleging coercion. Unstable. Kowalski muttered over a secure line. Cornered rats, bite own tails. I dove into Theo's startup, rechristened FinForge. Irony, forging clean from fraud's forge. Board meetings in that Pilsen loft, now strung with Edison bulbs and venture capitalist schmoozes, became my rhythm. Pivot tables by day, pitch decks by night. Theo's vision, blockchain auditing for small biz, clicked with my scars. Transparency as superpower. You're the ethical core, he said, eyes twinkling over IPAs at Happy Village. Ethical. The word chafed, a hairshirt reminder of gray zones I'd danced. Marcus and I navigated minefield dates, neutral turf, like strolls in Millennium Park under blooming magnolias, avoiding the Gage's ghosts. I love you, he'd say, tentative, hand brushing mine. Love. Fractured, but salvageable? Therapy droned on. Forgiveness isn't erasure. Easier preached than practiced. Lila mediated, weekend brunches at M. Henry turning confessional. He screwed up, Ruby. But you're punishing yourself too. Punishing. Yeah. The revenge arc had looped back, thorns inward. Elena's desperation peaked mid-month. A jailhouse visit request, routed through Carla. She wants to apologize, my lawyer relayed, skeptical. Apologize. Or ambush. Curiosity won. I trekked to the Metropolitan Correction Center, all concrete brutalism and buzzer doors, Reyes escorting for safety. Elena shuffled in, orange jumpsuit clashing her pallor, hair limp sans highlights. No makeup, no mask, just Hollow's Ruby, she croaked, chains clinking. I'm sorry. For all of it. Sorry. The word landed flat, over-rehearsed. I leaned in. Why the cabin? Why him? She flinched. Jealousy. You had balance. Him, the grit. I had ladders, no roots. Roots. Her ivy polish. Always envied my street-smart spine. The flip came swift. Help me, she begged. Testify it was mutual, the merger. I'll recant the deep fake. Bribe, naked. Rage flared. This serpent, even caged, coiled. You framed me. Doctored me. Rot. I stormed out, but her parting shot echoed. Marcus knew. About the cover-up. I told him, last year. He kept quiet for you. Knew. The bomb detonated slow, fuse burning home. Confrontation hit that evening. Our reconciliation dinner at Alinea. Fancy as fuck, molecular gastronomy mocking our mess. Midway through the faux apple course, I dropped it. Did you know? The merger? His fork paused, spheres of yuzu trembling. Elena told me. Offhand, after a drink. I didn't want to burden you. Burden. Or complicit. You let me carry it alone. The table hushed, servers averted eyes. He whispered, I thought it'd fade. Protect you. Protect. Patronizing bullshit. We fled into the night. Valrona desert abandoned. His pleas chasing. Ruby wait. The split was seismic. His bags packed by dawn. Lease in his name. Alone in the walk-up. Boxes echoing. I unraveled. Not tears, but plans. Revenge redux. Not against Elena now, but the enablers. Marcus's silence. A betrayal adjunct. I leaked to his firm's gossip mill. An anonymous Glassdoor review. Ethics? Ask about covering for fraud-adjacent partners. Petty? Sure. Controversial? Undeniably. Tarnishing his rep to match my pain. Lila called, furious. Stoop this low? You're better. Better. Or broken even. Finforge flourished. Series closed. Theo popping champagne in the warehouse. Now sleek with frosted glass partitions. To Ruby, the unflinching, he toasted. Unflinching. Armor or cage. Kowalski updated. Elena's trial set for June. Her flips backfiring. Judge revoking bail. Your testimony sealed it. Sealed. Justice's stamp. Cold comfort. Spring bloomed riotous. Tulips rioting in Grant Park. But my world great. Hookups via apps. Faceless architects. Baristas with tattoos. Filled voids. But dawn regrets bit deep. Mom visited. Her South Side pragmatism a balm. Grudges are luxury, baby girl. Let go or get got. Let go. I tried. Volunteered at a women's shelter, auditing pro bono for abuse survivors NGOs. Purpose, pixel by pixel. Elena's trial exploded media-wise, Sun-Times splash, Wall Street witch hunt, betrayal in the boardroom. Opening statements painted her cunning. Architect of deceit, flipping allies like cards. My turn on the stand. Week 3, humidity thick as guilt. Defense grilled. You admit falsifying records, Ms. Harlan? Under duress, I countered, voice steady. Loyalty to a mentor who exploited it. Jury leaned in, 6 women, eyes knowing. Prosecution looped the deep fake. My face, her venom. Gasps. Her cross. You leaked to sabotage. I met her glare. You forged to destroy. Standoff. Readers picking sides. Twitter ablaze. Team Ruby or Elena victim. Climax crested day 12. Her testimony, a masterclass in flip. Tearful. Ruby was partner, not pawn. We schemed together. Gasts anew. Then crumble. Under cross, metadata unraveled her lies. Deepfake architect exposed as her IT cousin. Breakdown sobs. I was scared. Scared. The humanizing twist, blurring lines. Jurors shifted. Sympathy cracks in her armor. I watched from gallery, heart pounding. Monster or mirror? Marcus appeared post-recess, back row, eyes haunted. Intermission whisper. I should have told you. Forgive. Forgive. The word dangled, controversial hook. I nodded, tentative, second chance, or fool's errand. Verdict deliberations stretched 2 days, city holding breath, bar bets rife. I hold in Finforge, Theo's team oblivious, crunching numbers like talismans. Lila texted hourly, brief. Mom, prayers up. Marcus, here if you need. Need. The vulnerability chink. Wednesday noon, guilty. Wire fraud, conspiracy, 12 counts. Sentence, 8 years, restitution triple. Courtroom erupted. Reporters stampede. Elena's wail piercing. Reyes clapped my shoulder. You turned it. Turned. But as cuffs clicked final, her eyes met mine. Not hate, but hollow. Victory's aftertaste. Pyrrhic wine, bitter dregs. Outside, spring sun mocked. Picnickers in the loop, oblivious. Marcus waited, tentative hug. Proud of you. Proud. We walked, hand in hand, tentative bridge. But the twist loomed, unspoken. Summer scorched in, Chicago's asphalt radiating heat like grudges long nursed, and with Elena's conviction, the scandal's embers smoldered to ash. Apex rebranded. Phoenix Financial, new CEO spouting integrity pledges on CNBC, stock rebounding on greenwashed promises. My payout funded Finford's expansion, satellite office in Austin, Theo eyeing IPO. You're the North Star. He said over rooftop beers at the J. Parker, skyline glittering like fool's gold. North Star. Navigation aid or distant dream. My compass spun wild, post-trial haze lingering. Marcus and I rebuilt cautious, couples weekends in Saugatuck, dune hikes or racing cabin phantoms. No more secrets, he vowed, sand gritting our toes. I echoed, but trust's a scar tissue, toughens, but aches in rain. Lila officiated our redo engagement. Simple ring, backyard barbecue in her Milwaukee yard, mom grilling brats with life advice. Loves work, not fairy tale. Work, yeah, the daily grind of forgiveness, flipping from foe to fragile ally. Kowalski closed the file. Clean slate, Harlan. Commendation even, whistleblower status. Clean. Ironic, after mudslinging. Reyes invited coffee. Off-record thanks. You flipped the script on her game. Script. Elena's final act. Appeal filed from Alderson. Her letters smuggled via cousin. Rotting for your vendetta. But we both lost. Lost. The ambiguity gnawed. Her cunning birthed my spine. Betrayal the forge. Controversial truth. No heroes, just survivors trading wounds. Finforge hit stride. Clients flocking. My audit's the gold standard. Jamal jumped aboard. Our old banter resurrecting. From fall girl to boss bitch. Boss. The title chafed less now. Public panels beckoned. Podcasts on corporate betrayal. TEDx slots in Evanston. Vulnerability's power. I preached to packed rooms, voice honed. Audiences split. Applause thundering, Q&A thorns. Was revenge justice? One suit asked. I paused. It was survival. Draw your line. Lines blurred. Debates raging post-talk. Ruby revenge trending anew. The twist dropped Labor Day. Humid haze cloaking the city like regret. Anonymous envelope at Finforge. No postmark. Elena's looping script inside. Truth's final flip. Watch, then decide. DVD enclosed. Grainy. Time-stamped merger night, 5 years back. Not the ladies' room sob. This, hidden cam in her office. Me, frantic at her desk, keystrokes flying. This covers us both, Elena. But if it blows. Her off-screen, it won't. You're my rock. Rock. Then the gut punch. Post-alteration. Her voice, sly. Good girl. Now, delete the originals, on your machine. I had. Willingly. No coercion. Ambitions packed. Mutual madness. Horror rooted me. Complicit, not coerced. I'd borne the blame, yes, but chosen the chain. The real bomb. Appended clip, recent. Marcus, in her condo, post-cabin, pre-trial. Not sex, confession. Ruby covered for you. He says, voice tense. Elena, and you'll keep quiet? For her, him, for us. But if she finds out, us. The pronoun dagger, he'd known, weighed silence against our bond. Chose quiet. Rage, revulsion, revelation crashed. I drove to his office, loop high-rise, glass reflecting my fury. Burst in mid-meeting, DVD clutched. You knew. And lied. Colleagues gawked. He blanched, ushering me out. Hallway hiss. Ruby, wait. It was protection. Protection. Patronizing poison. You flipped with her, silence as betrayal. He crumbled. I was scared. Of losing you. Losing. We'd both lost, circling drains of deceit. The choice loomed, controversial fork. Expose him, shatter his career like he'd let mine teeter? Or swallow, rebuild on half-truths? Lila advised, cut clean, sis. Or it festers. Mom, hurt people hurt. Choose you. Theo, over whiskey at empty bottle. Powers in walking away. Walking. The Avengers endgame. Not destruction, but detachment. I chose gray. Confronted, demanded therapy redux, boundaries redrawn. No leaks, no lawsuits, private purge. He agreed, eyes pleading redemption. But trust? Fractured mosaic, beauty in breaks. Elena's letter followed. Now you see? We're all flip sides. All. The mirror's verdict. No saints, just sinners scripting survival. Fall gilded the city. Leaves torching Grant Park. Air crisp with change. Finforge launched app beta. Me keynoting at Tech Week. Betrayal's lesson. Audit your own shadows. Applause swelled, genuine. Marcus proposed formal. Knee in sand at Montrose Beach. Waves lapping like uneasy truce. I said yes, tentative. Happy ending, asterisk. Epilogue twist. 6 months on. Anonymous donation to my shelter gig. $50K. Traced to Elena's commissary fund. Note. Pay it forward. E-gesture or guilt. Debate fodder for late-night what-ifs. I funneled it to fraud victims' aid, cycle broken. Or bent. Chicago winters circle back, relentless. Me? Unbowed, edges honed. Revenge's arc. Not triumph, but transformation. Tables turned. Yeah, but the game's eternal, players ever flipping. Who's right? Who's wrong? That's the hook, the endless spin. Pull up a chair. Argue it out.